Hello, I'm Harold Ainsworth, and I want to, in this brief video, talk about value maps. You might wonder what value maps are. Value maps are a way of showing the connection between our investments in programs and projects and the end result that we want to see. If we look at a business case, for example, and we'll see this on the slide, a business case will say if we invest in this particular initiative, in this case a customer relationship management system, we will receive these benefits or value later on. The problem is, in the middle is a miracle. Well, of course, miracles don't occur. What we need to see is what are all the connections that makes the value. So on the next slide, we show what this would look like. And you'll see that there are rectangles or squares, which are a number of initiatives that need to complement the initial one. There are circles, which are outcomes, and some are interim or intermediate, and some are final outcomes. There are also boxes or hexagons that are our risks or assumptions, and we need to know what these are as well, because we have to manage these to make certain we get the end result. And of course the arrows shows the connections. Now, these maps typically will fit on a page, although in a large program of work it may be an A3 page. It helps people to see all the various connections to achieve the end value. And that end value may be monetary, or in the case of a public organisation, it may be achievement of some strategic objectives that they have been tasked with. And so this is what a map will look like, and what it shows effectively is the gap between where we are now and where we want to be in the future. And so we often talk of the idea of the value chain, and the next slide shows that. The idea being that strategies will create a number of programs or parts of programs which will incorporate projects. These will deliver some interim outcomes, and then they will be exploited in or utilised through the mechanism of business change to produce value. And of course in this case we've shown value in terms of monetary terms, but they don't need to be monetary. Now, one of the benefits of these maps is that they surface a lot of assumptions that sit behind our thinking. If we go back to the original sort of slide, we can see that there was the idea of the miracle. Well, what that does is starts to fill in all of the things that have to occur along the way. It also gets all the stakeholders having the same understanding of what we are trying to do. And this is very important, because otherwise, if everybody is not, as we say, on the same page, the chances are we will not be able to achieve the end value. It also helps us to understand what the risks are, and that's very important to manage those risks, not just delivery risks, but actually the risk to achieving value, which is another thing again. And part of that will be making certain that the business change occurs, because there will be business change required to achieve these outcomes. And it also provides us with measures that we can measure along the way. Intermediate outcomes or interim outcomes are things we can measure along the way and see if we are actually heading towards the goal. Rather than waiting till we get to the end and finding there's a problem, we can discover that along the way. So the next slide shows how these value maps actually inform a lot of other plans. So we start off with the value map, which will then help us develop a program plan consisting of a number of initiatives or projects and how they are linked together. That will help us and inform a change management plan. What are the things we need to do, the training, the process changes, the people changes, the behavioural changes. There will be a benefits realisation plan, which will have a register of the benefits we expect to get and how we are going to measure them. That will feed into business plans and budgets. And all of this will feed into the business case or the justification for why we are doing it. So value maps are a very important first stage before we get into the planning and the business case that will justify what we are seeking to do. I hope that's been helpful. Thank you very much for your time.